Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Penn. There's a little bit of an issue with our audio earlier. We're going to fix this video and show you what's going on. Here's the current situation across the Carolinas. Cool and dry right now, but the Arctic air is really building to the north. We're going to churn a couple of these things off and start looking at some of the model data going into the upcoming weekend. Let's look at the cold air, first of all, globally. And if you look at all this cold air bottled up over Canada, up into the Arctic, as you go overseas into Europe, you know Europe's been hit hard by this Arctic outbreak, but now it's shifting east into parts of Siberia and Russia. Look at these cold temperatures. This maroon area up here in eastern parts of Russia into China. Boy, just unbelievable cold air coming all the way down into areas of China, Tibet, going down into the Himalayas, coming down into parts of Korea even. Just an amazing amount of cold air. Alaska finally getting a break, but it's this cold air that has now shifted over Hudson Bay that I'm keeping an eye on, because over the next couple of days, look what happens. This stuff starts creeping south, and the Arctic air starts spilling into the eastern half of the country. You could see the Arctic front there diving quickly into the south and east, setting the stage for the coldest air of the season by far. And by the weekend, the whole eastern half of the country is going to be inundated with the cold air. So let's go back and take a look at this a little closer. This is the high resolution NAM4. I love looking at this model because you can really see the progression of the cold air. We'll watch it here, diving down to the south. Here it comes, moving it. I mean, look at that Arctic boundary. These temperatures are below zero up here, and you can see even out ahead of it, temperatures aren't exactly warm, teens and 20s. Anywhere you see dark blue, that's the freezing line. So you can see how the freezing line's progressing to the south and east. Maybe some warm air getting pulled up ahead of the Arctic front. That's why I think tomorrow actually doesn't look too bad. Maybe mid and upper 50s in a few locations. You typically get that right before the Arctic air arrives. You get some compressional heating, and you get some warm air pulled up ahead of the front. But you get an idea. There's the Arctic air spilling down. In fact, when you start looking at this weekend, let's go out to Saturday morning. There's the Arctic air moving into the southeast. And while it doesn't look as impressive, when you get into these light and dark greens, you're going from 40s to 30s. And as we go into Sunday afternoon, that's Sunday morning, by the way. That's single digits in the North Carolina mountains, maybe a few spots below zero at the highest elevations. And then we go into Sunday afternoon. These will be the highs, 38, 39 in Charlotte. The dark greens, look over here, between 30 and 40. The light greens are the 40s down here, but the blue, that's all teens and 20s. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. Let's go look at some of the model data. We'll take a look at that in a second. This is the GFS model, the Arctic air diving down. Some interesting things to note today. Low pressure tries to form on the southeast coast somewhere. This is something new that's developed in the models this afternoon and this morning that has me a little, I would say worried, but makes me think about Saturday a little more. I think we're going to have to put some rain, some clouds, and maybe shockingly even maybe a flurry. It's a real race between the moisture and the cold air, as it always is with these systems. And then it moves out, and you can see the Arctic air spilling into the southeast. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see this. So as we go out into Tuesday, here's the next little piece of energy. Tuesday morning, we've got some moisture moving in, and that certainly looks interesting right there. The 540 line's just to the north, but this could be a rain-snow mix, very wet, heavy snow. When you look at some of the other models, like the European, here's this weekend, the Arctic front, got a little weak area of low pressure trying to form on the coast. So same scenario as the GFS. We go out to Tuesday, same scenario. So for once, the GFS and the European are somewhat consistent and in line with each other, which has been a rarity this year. So both of these events, this weekend and Tuesday, bear watching. In fact, if we look at our high-resolution RPM model, watch what happens here as the Arctic air comes into the northeast, into the Midwest and the Great Lakes. You can see a wave forming back here, but look off the East Coast as well. Right there in the Florida Panhandle, up the Carolina coast, a wave tries to form. So there could be a lot more moisture in play coming up with this weekend event, something I think we got to keep a close eye on as we go into Saturday. So certainly something we're going to have to watch as we go into Saturday. Look at the Arctic high. This thing just sprawls and eats up the eastern half of the country with some really cold air. Talking about the snow on Tuesday, this is the European model. Notice this big blob of snow. This is snow. This is not QPF or liquid. This is actual snow output from the European model. This is your tidal bar or your legend down here, your snowfall total. So, I mean, this looks a lot more impressive, but you don't get to an inch until you get to this kind of lighter blue. So you're looking at trace amounts to an inch, but still, it's snow. It's not rain. We'll go out. This is actually early Monday, actually Tuesday morning, late Monday night. Let's watch this go out towards Tuesday morning. This progresses to the east. You see the big blob moving into the mountains, and look at that. Very trace amounts, flurries for the Piedmont. Let's go out one more hour, and you can see it starts to change over to rain, but there's definitely a little bit of snow that develops across the Piedmont on Tuesday. So this is something that we're going to have to watch. This looks really wet. I don't think it's going to be a road issue, but kind of gives you an idea of what we could be looking at. So to kind of back up that same thing with the European, here's the GFS. And if you look here, this is Tuesday morning. These are the models. This is snowfall forecast from the GFS. And notice the legend over here, 0.3 to 0.4, maybe a half an inch of snow. I mean, this is really marginal, but it has snow in it as well. So once again, we have two models, the European model and the GFS, somewhat agreeing on some snow on Tuesday. And I would say even this weekend, I mean, you look at this Saturday setup right here, it's definitely interesting on both models. So something that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on, and with the cold air in place, this could be really interesting going into the weekend. So stay tuned. I'll keep you up to date on this. Remember, I'll have full details on this starting today at 4 o'clock on News Channel 36. If you can't join me there, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or at WCNC.com.